Welcome to the studio. Come on in, grab a chair. Welcome to Doug In Exile, the slowest growing channel in all of right-wing YouTube. I'm just kidding. This is the big issue is gerrymandering. Ugh, that sounds like doing your taxes. No, I swear, this is really going to be effective. And the biggest strategy the Democrats are using right now, and the Republicans are trying to fight against it, because this is the best way you keep Trump from getting impeached next year. Dead dog serious stuff. That's why we're covering it. Welcome, take a seat. And of course, if you want to help speed up our growth, subscribe. Here's what Scott Jennings posted on it in a recent Twitter post from last night.
They should go to work, should they not? I mean, they got elected to represent people in Texas, not
so
people in
should Congress.
Illinois.
Why did they abandon the House to not vote on these Epstein files?
It's the August recess. And if you're comparing these
it was
two,
not the
once
August
again,
recess.
you're showing just how dishonest you're willing to be. They got a
So he shut down that argument. She's going, what about Mike Johnson taking the, well, August is a normal recess month for Republicans. I'm against it also, but I'm only saying it is normal.
To go to work in the Texas state capitol. They've left the state. They're abandoning their constituents. And if they want to go vote against the map, that's fine. But running off to Illinois, the most gerrymandered state in the country, I mean, I understand no one in the PR department at the Texas House Democratic Conference must have been at work that day, but it looks horrific for them.
But let it be horrific. What I will say about that is that they had to flee. They don't have control.
Had to flee?
Let me tell you, they don't have control of
the
House or the Senate. Want to pick up seats for the midterm elections.
So you get elected to represent people in Texas, and your reaction to that is to go to Illinois and hide behind J.B. Pritzker?
They're breaking quorum. That's what they're doing. They're breaking quorum because...
Now, if you are going to hide behind J.D. Pritzker, I think about 500 people can hide behind him. This is about the big philosophy of gerrymandering, which was never used to any extreme except by Democrats. And we're going to prove that philosophy in a video coming right up on this episode about how the Democrats have used it and how the Republicans have not used it hardly at all. So it's open season. Trump is going to do it. Okay. He's going to do what Democrats did. That's all he said. And the Democrats are completely freaking out because Texas is the first one to go in and barely gerrymander districts. It's not going to look like spaghetti. And all gerrymandering is, you start saying this is a cluster of votes over here that's going to represent one new seat in the House of Representatives. And so Democrats, they keep having their areas of preference are farther and farther apart, the counties and clusters. So that's all it is. It's basically winning elections by picking who votes for a member of the House of Representatives. You guys know there's a certain number of representatives in each state. Okay. And the census has ripped off Republicans this last round. Excuse me. So we're going to take another census instead of every 10 years. We're going to go every 5 years, which is another outrageous thing that Trump is doing. And I totally support it. It is time to cut off the gloves and fight the way the Democrats fight us. Okay. Because we're wearing gloves and they're not. They're bare knuckle fighting us and we're getting our butt kicked. And no more under Trump. It's time to fight. Now, here's Tapper on claiming the Democratic gerrymandering in Illinois is merely an exception. And the rule is the worst offenders when it comes to gerrymandering are Republican states, which is ridiculous to say.
If you look at the map, right, you have some exceptions like Illinois. There's blatant Democratic gerrymandering. But most of the worst offenders when it comes to gerrymandering are Republican states, such as Texas.
Okay, so that's the claim, that it's Texas that is overly gerrymandered. I have no problem with it at all. But let's get some facts on the who actually gerrymandered what. Here's the real reasons the Democrats are afraid of gerrymandering. The breakdown ends the Democratic Party. If there's gerrymandering allowed in Republican areas the same way that the Democrats have, Democrats would never win another election. This is why so here's Republican. None of these states have a Republican congressperson. That's Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, Hawaii, New Mexico, Connecticut, and Delaware. That means there's no representation of whatever percentage of Republican voters, which might be as high as 36 to 40%. Even in the most liberal states, they don't have a representative in the House of Representatives. I mean, so because of gerrymandering. Now watch this. This one is the killer.
This is why Democrats are so scared of gerrymandering, because every blue state is already gerrymandered to the maximum possible extent. None of these states have a Republican congressperson. These states have one Republican congressperson, and these states have 2 to 5, which means the only states that they could gerrymander more to get rid of Republicans would be California and New York. Those are their only options. Whereas Republican states are not as gerrymandered, so they have tons of options and tons of places where they could do so right now.
So we have not manipulated enough because we have tons of states to choose from. And it could end up giving us, 10, 20 seats of an advantage in the House of Representatives that votes down impeachment. It allows us to control the budgets. It allows us to control the agenda on presidential orders, including if a Democrat ever won presidency, we could have our House of Representatives give them hell. So we have not done to the Democrats what they have done to every state, which counters what Jake Tapper just said, because he liar.
And if every Republican state starts gerrymandering, it adds up very quickly. Like Texas and Florida alone could add 10 plus seats. But when you factor in Ohio, Indiana, Missouri, and other smaller red states, Republicans could gain over 15 seats in the House. And Donald Trump is going to pursue this strategy, which is why J.D. Vance is in Indiana right now, because Indiana could gerrymander to gain 2+ seats. And if you want to figure out how this is legal.
Okay, hold on. I want to show you the shape of this Indiana state. That I don't know if you can see this, but look at Indiana. If you look at it, there's solid red areas, which is normal, and there's a solid blue areas, 2 of them. That's normal. That's an ungerrymandered state. Just by the shape of it, you can tell. If it was blue areas gerrymandered, they would have little spaghetti strands of communities where they redistribute those votes all around to find new smaller blue districts and just start picking little communities and string them together. So this is a tight, ungerrymandered state. That's what a normal state looks like. And you'll see Indiana by comparison, and Maryland, it just looks like spaghetti because Democrats have gone in and gerrymandered it. Okay. That's the argument. Okay. Now Greg Abbott is stepping it up. And this involves the Supreme Court. Today, I took emergency action to begin the removal from office of derelict Democrat Texas House members who refused to show up for the special session. This is in the Supreme Court of Texas. How's that? What is at stake here? Nothing less than the future of Texas. If a small fraction of recalcitrant lawmakers choose to run out the clock today, they can do so for any and every regular or special session. In other words, the House of Representatives are taken over by the terrorist actions of Democrats. They can manipulate any vote, okay? Potentially bankrupting the state in an attempt to get their way. That means every state budget could be held hostage until the whims of a small fraction of legislators are satisfied. Does that sound like the way that our representational government works? Is this what a representation of Democrats mean in Texas? That a small minority of Democrats in Texas get to dictate everything the entire House? See, that what this does is it walks on the rights of the Republican representation in government. If you're a Republican in Texas, you have no representation because the Democrats are allowed to shut down the government. It doesn't have to be that way. And by the way, this is true. Democrats could just start walking out in every state. This is going to go to the Supreme Court of the United States, I think. I think you're going to need to get a top-down government response because that's what's necessary. Now, on this strategy, look here we go. Maura Healey says President Trump and Governor Abbott left her with no choice. She must gerrymander Massachusetts to get rid of all Republican reps. Spoiler, Massachusetts has no Republican reps. That's the big lie. How can you have no Republican representation in an entire state? Democrats are already doing it. Here she is.
Many Democratic majority states are now threatening to rewrite their own maps if Texas follows through with its plan.
Donald Trump, Greg Abbott, Ken Paxton have left us no choice. That's the reality. Nobody came looking for this.
So now the Democrats are going to fight back against Texas, even other states that aren't dragged into this controversy with Greg Abbott right now. Massachusetts is going to go fine. We want to gerrymander ours to be even more Democrat. Trump's going to address that right here with Peter Doocy asked the tough questions, why we love Peter Doocy as a journalist. So listen to Trump's answer.
If Texas redrawing their congressional map would get you 5 safe red seats, means that California, New York, Illinois, and Maryland are all going to redraw their maps to add safe.
Well, they'll do it anyway.
Is it worth it?
Yeah, they'll do it anyway. Why? If we stop over there, they would have done it anyway.
They will do it anyway. So now we're pushed off a cliff. Now listen to me, Republican states, get in the game. You're playing a different sport. You're in another arena. We're playing baseball here and you're over there playing soccer. The game's over here in baseball. And the new game is every Republican state needs to start gerrymandering districts to jack up our House of Representatives because the Democrats are doing it.
Look, a lot of these states, I watched this morning as Democrats are complaining, and they're complaining from states where they've done it, like in Illinois, like in Massachusetts. I watched it.
You can't gerrymander them any farther, especially Illinois. They're maxed out.
Lunatic Pocahontas.
It means you've strung a community together of voters with some of them just 2 streets wide on this tiny band. They look like pipes instead of a block or a square like a normal community. They're a pipeline of little Democrat neighborhoods, some of them 2 houses deep. They have certain rules. It'll say it has to be this many streets deep or this many blocks or this much of a representational government. So they're trying to follow those rules, but you can maximize those rules and build them all the way out. And that's called gerrymandering.
She's a total lunatic. I don't know what she's on. She's all jumping up and down like I've never seen anything like it, talking about supporting the communist mayor. And he's not a socialist. He's a communist, okay? This is not a socialist, man. This is a communist. If you look at any of his policies and go back 6 months, you don't even have to go back further than that. So they want to put a communist in New York. Now, the good news is we have a lot of power over that because we're the ones with the money. We send the money. We don't send the money. It's up to the White House, a lot of power in the White House. But when I watched her jumping up and down, talking about that and supporting the communists, but if you look at what's going on with the redistricting or whatever you want to call it, the Democrats have done it long before we started. They've done it all over the place. They did it in New York. They did it in a lot of different states. But in Massachusetts, so somebody used this as an example today. I was interviewed this morning, and they said, it's pretty unfair. Trump got 40%. I'm not proud of that, but I think I probably got more, but that's okay. I got 40% in Massachusetts, and yet they have 100% of the vote in terms of Congress. So there's no Republican, there's no anything. So I should.
So 40% Republicans in Massachusetts with 0 representation. Is that a House of Representatives to you? Is that a representational government to you? That's the principle, is that our government is by the people, of the people, for the people. And Massachusetts is not. If you're 40% of Massachusetts, it is not by you and for you, Republicans.
You should have 40%. You know why? They redistricted. And they've done it all over the place. And they've done it in California, by the way. Before this, they've done it in California. So we'll see what happens. We have a wonderful governor in Texas. He feels strongly.
Well, what's going to happen is this is a breakdown of our government, guys. But Trump, we have to participate in this breakdown because it's broken if only the Democrats do it. It's broken and unfair. And the way that you force them to come to the table and negotiate is mutual assured destruction. Republicans must do it if Democrats do it. You cannot, the high road of playing by the rules and losing, playing by the rules until you have no representation in government is not a high road. Guys, you have to go in, gerrymander the living daylights and redistrict the living daylights out of every Republican state until the Democrats come in, or it goes up to the Supreme Court and they make a final decision at a federal level that starts to dictate to the states what they can do. See, this is a states' rights versus federal rights also.
About it, it's going to be up to him. I think there's tremendous support for it. And, we've watched the Democrats destroy our country in 4 years. They've destroyed, between their open borders that we talked about, transgender for everybody, all of the horrible things that they've done, high taxes, horrible medical provision for people. We've watched them destroy our country for 4 years, and people don't want that. And people in Texas, as you saw, I got the highest vote in the history of Texas. I love Texas. Texas likes me, obviously, but I got the highest vote, and that was checked out on the show. Did you see that where they checked it out? They said he actually did get the highest vote in the history of Texas, which disappointed them. They were very disappointed to hear that. But Texas is a place that's done very well with a free enterprise kind of an attitude, with the exact opposite of what's happening in New York with a communist mayor. And they know what they're doing, and they're doing the right thing. Yeah.
Even AOC and Mamdani out in New York, they wouldn't win without the gerrymandering, and redistricting, although they could still do more in New York. And New York and California are prime targets for Democrats to expand their seats. That's what they're trying to do. Here's Ken Paxton on Steve Bannon, because now they're going to start arresting AWOL Democrats.
I don't know what the FBI would have to do with this. Nothing. This is a purely state issue. So we are focused on alternatives that we can implement at the state level. One of those is we can arrest these. So you will see some action that we will attempt to make those arrests. If that doesn't work, we're also going to give them till Friday, because that's the next day that
So they're waiting for the House of Representatives to come back because they AWOL'd, out in Illinois, hiding behind Pritzker, Illinois, Indiana, New York, California. They fly far enough away that they can't be called back in and put together a quorum, which is what triggers the House to be able to vote on this redistricting. So Paxton and Abbott are threatening to arrest them and bring them back, or even replace their seats. Abbott has said they'll do temporary replacements. And I say replace them all with Republicans. Throw Steve Bannon in there.
Legislature meets to show up on Friday. If they don't, then we are going to file motions to try to remove some of these legislators from office. So that's where we're at now. We'll see what happens. At the very least, I guarantee you this, we can outweight them if these other alternatives don't work. And eventually we'll get the vote that we need.
They'll outweigh them because the budget is part of this next vote. And so they can starve out every Democrat institution of a budget and just say you're all cut. So we can also outweigh them. That's another good strategy that doesn't require, involving arrests or anything. Now, wait, there's more. Here's Scott Jennings on Gavin Newsom. He says, so first, here's Gavin Newsom. Oh, cool. I can do that too. Red states with 0 Democrat House seats. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Iowa, Utah. By the way, Utah is one of the rare, after the census, where they gave Utah too many Republican districts. Just to say that it did go both, the unfairness goes both ways, but it's like tiny, it's like 10 to 1. There's one Republican favor for every time the Democrats get favorable census reports that give them more seats. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Utah, Nebraska, Idaho, Montana, West Virginia, Alaska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming. Well, you're not going to get to redistrict those because you're not in majorities. Sorry. Red states with just 1 Democrat House seat, Mississippi, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Kansas. Should I keep going? Well, that's why Scott Jennings reported, lol, Gavin Newsom has the Dakotas and Wyoming on here with 1 seat each as being gerrymandered. Trump is truly blessed by the dumbest opposition. So Gavin Newsom can't even make his argument against what the Republicans are doing, as Scott Jennings has properly. Well, now we're all caught up on the redistricting thing on what's going on in Texas. The big news comes out in 2 days on Friday, where we find out if Democrats come back, if there's any arrests or removals from office, or if the Republicans, like Paxton said, are just going to wait it out. But now you're all caught up. I will bring you only the important news today that you really, really need to know. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. I'm Doug in Exile.